So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the new class for Streamlit. We are going to discuss about the UI part of the Q&A app, which we are going to build in next week, which is our second project. Okay. So for that, everything else that is needed, including the complete rack pipeline and how we build, you know, complete end-to-end uh, application using RAG as a solution. Uh, we are going to utilize all that and add a beautifying layer with a UI, which is easier for people to understand or end users to be able to work with. Okay. All right. Before starting, just want to confirm, has any one of you worked with Streamlit before this?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right. Uh, you at least have idea that there are languages called HTML and CSS. Pretty much the complete web is created based on both of those for UI.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard
Mm,
about that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. So every web application that you use or see, right? HTML is the base of how it would have been created. Okay, the UI part of it. So, but now we are working with Python, so I don't expect you to learn a new language to be able to work with UI. Plus, for AI engineer, UI is not not supposed to be a forte. So, but if there is something which could give us only enough that we could build something meaningful and put it on top of our backend system, whatever we are creating for utilizing GenAI, right? So for that, Streamlit provides very good option, right? You can pretty much create any kind of UI that you want using Python directly, and internally it would stream, create something in HTML, its own scripts and whatnot. But we don't have to worry about it, right? We'll just write simple Python, and that too, my expectation is not that you guys go behind and learning everything about Streamlit from now on, right? That's not the expectation. The expectation is simple, that from our UI perspective you'll get introduced to Streamlit, and for our apps perspective, how much of Streamlit we need to know, we'll only discuss that much. Okay, so the expectation, and you don't, from AI engineers perspective, you don't need to become a Streamlit expert. Okay, you just need to use it to a level where you can, if there's something which you're building within your organization as a POC, you would be able to just use it uh, to make your app look better. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know once it's Shrikant, can you mute yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once it's visible. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes. Yes, yes.
Okay, so as we said that we are just going to use Streamlit for our Q&A app, which is our project, which we have to build in the next week. Okay, all right. So for the same, what does Streamlit solve for us? Okay, so your Rack chatbot works, which we already built till the last session. Okay, but only in the terminal, right? Only in your VS Code terminal. Okay, but from there, if you have to, just one second. From there, if you have to build something which could use UI, right? You'll need something additional, and that something additional is your Streamlit. Okay. Plus, your terminal is residing with you. You cannot share it with anyone. You cannot show it to anyone. All right. Anita, is everything okay? I'm seeing you like joining again and again. Okay. I'm hoping some connectivity issue at your side. No issues. Okay. Uh, so I was saying we can have things built for on our own system. We can run those on our terminals, but we cannot share it with anyone, right? Even if we create this project, you will not be able to share your own code to an interviewer, or you cannot showcase it on LinkedIn, right? So Streamlit solves that problem. Okay. Good thing is you don't need to learn a new language. You write only Python. Okay. Streamlit creates your UI from that Python itself. Okay, it has built-in functions, so every section that you want to build, you section, compartmentalize it and write only for that section. Again, don't write too complicated code, don't think about it because it's not needed. Streamlit is used mostly for POCs, just understand that. Okay, and if you want to become a Streamlit expert, that's a different thing. But if you want to become an AI engineer, only knowing to the extent that how do you use certain controls, how do you build, say, a chat bubble, what is left sidebar, right sidebar. So those simple things are more than enough for our use cases. Okay, then it has simple file upload buttons, forms, etc. For that one line of predefined functions is more than enough. Okay, and then you can deploy your application for free, and you can share it with anyone with a link, and they can use your app. So that brings in that showcasing factor where you can utilize it as a project that you can highlight to the external audience, maybe through LinkedIn, maybe if you're interviewing somewhere, and you are uh, going there as an AI engineer, you want to showcase that I've already built this. Can you can have a look at that and explain that, right? So that's what Streamlit is going to give us. Okay, there's one rule for Streamlit. All right. Now, what is that rule? That rule is before we write any code, right? Or before you start working with it, just understand everything that you're building from Streamlit's perspective, that is all going to be a single script. Okay, so every time the user would do anything, okay, maybe type a message, maybe clicks a button or uploads a file, Streamlit is going to run your entire file from the beginning. Maybe you have, say, there are 20 sections in your application, and from UI perspective, you see that you've typed something in the chat that might be part of your section 4 or 5. You would expect that code till then would have been run, and then as we move to the next block, block would be run, right? But that's not how it works for Streamlit. Okay, simply every time the user does anything, Streamlit is going to run your entire Python file or Python code from line 1, top to bottom, every single line. Okay, so just if you understand that, now start building, because if you don't understand that, when you build it, you'll build considering that there are separate chunks, and that is how it's going to run for Streamlit, but that will not be the case. Okay, so uh, there are 3 steps to write. Okay, you start with your titles, chat inputs, etc. Okay, now there would be user inputs, right? Because we are creating UI for user interaction. All right, so user would do something. Okay, they might click a button, they might type a message, upload a file, anything, right? Now every time they do this, right, every time with every action, your .py file runs again from line 1. Every time for all variables, it will be a reset completely. So if you understand that, then you'll think about, okay, how can I solve this problem? Or I can start treating it as a problem, right? Because there would be certain things which would have run till some place. You might need to store those things with you so that when the user does the next thing, right, they will get a seamless experience, right? They should not feel that, okay, whatever I did in the past, I clicked on upload button, right? And then I clicked on, or entered something. For that person, what would happen is upload file would be gone, right? Because again, it would be running from the beginning. If it's run from the beginning, it would be asking for your upload, but upload is a user action. It similarly, any input that you're asking from a user, you need to find ways to be able to store it, and the next uh, when the user does the next activity, it's your job to keep that. And again, the script is going to run from the beginning, but you store it in some variable so that the next time user doesn't have to do it again, right? It For them, it would look like it's a seamless thing. You are storing their values or storing the experience, but in reality, for each thing, you're creating new variables, and then putting it within your existing code. Pretty much you're running a new code every time. Okay, But this is one limitation with Streamlit. But again, this is used for POCs only, right? So, but for our use case, that is going to be more than enough. Okay. All right. So we are going to use these functions only. 5 functions. Okay. Chat st.chat messages. So this is going to go give you the chat bubble that we use for either user or assistant. Okay. Then comes chat input. This is going to create a text box at the bottom of the page where a user types their message. Like in ChatGPT, the text box where you're going to type your message. Okay. Then file uploader. Okay. So like you upload any file. Okay. When you go to any application that asks you to upload something, you would see an upload button. Then it will ask you to browse within your window. Okay, so it is going to create the same experience. Okay, it is going to create a drag and drop area or an area for you to choose your file and put it there. Okay, for our Q&A app, we are going to use PDF files to learn about something and answer. So we are, for this file uploader will be used to find those PDF files within your PC. Okay. Okay. Next to which is session state and write stream. These are going to help us with that problem that we were talking about, right? So session state, as the name suggests, right? It is a special dictionary which is going to survive your reruns, right? So every time you run, then how do you keep a note of what the user has done in the previous action, right? So you can do it with session state. Okay. And write stream, this is going to, or this shows the AI's response like we saw in the past, word by word, right? Like the typing effect that we see on ChatGPT, etc. Okay. Now about a little about session state, right? So what happens? What happens is, suppose we write messages equal empty list like here. Okay. Now user sends hi. Now the first message becomes hi. Okay. Great. You entered the first message, whatever user interaction is, you have it. Now the user sends another message. Now the script is going to run from the beginning, right? If it is going to run from the beginning, the messages will again be set to empty list so that hi is gone. Okay. The previous interaction basically for the user is gone. You don't have it. Okay. Now with the session state, what would happen is, instead of creating a plain variable, we put it inside session state. Okay. So like here, it was a plain variable. You can put it in session state. Okay. Now, if you put something in session state and you wrap it with a if condition or if check, so it will, what we will be saying to the program is, if messages is not already in session state, then create it. Okay. This means first time the app loads, that means it would be a empty list. Okay. So this one would be an empty list. Now every rerun after that, it would be skipping this line. Okay. The existing list with all our messages would be kept. Okay. So that is what session states does. It is always going to keep whatever messages are shared with you, or whatever is there in the session state will be kept as user action or user values. Okay. To be used later. Next is chat pattern. Okay. For uh, for our use case perspective. Okay. First thing that we are going to do is we are going to initialize. So how do you initialize? You are going to create an empty message list in session state. Now only if it doesn't exist yet, that's the if check, which we already discussed about, right? Second would be redisplay. So we are going to loop through all the saved messages, and we are going to show each one in a chat bubble. Okay. Because that's, usually that is how you are going to interact with any application. If you're using ChatGPT, there would be an invisible chat bubble in that section where you're seeing it. Similar on WhatsApp, right? You type something, you get your bubble. If the other person with whom you're chatting, they type, they get their own chat bubble. That's how you understand that, mine is a different color on left side, The person interacting with me might be in right side with a different color. Okay. Then we capture the input by the user. So, okay. So capturing the user's input using st.chat input. So .chat input helps us get the user input. Okay. And then we are going to save it in the session state. Okay. Lastly, send the message to OpenAI and get the response. And this is going to look in the assistant bubble. All right. And everything that is again getting generated is getting saved in the session state. All right. Now, this is a very simple one that we are going to create. All right. We are connecting it with OpenAI currently. So to be able to answer some things, right? But this will not be a complete RAG implementation, right? That would be part of our Q&A app that will create our terminal based application with RAG completely separately and then integrate it with the UI that we are creating with Streamlit. Okay, so this session will give you some idea how Streamlit behaves, how Streamlit works, and what we are creating, how does it relate to our application. Okay, and then comes file upload and streaming. So this is the actual interaction, right? So what we are going to do in our Q&A app is this file uploader is actually going to get that file. So that will be your knowledge base as we discussed in RAG, right? RAG is what? Retrieval augmented generation. Okay, so it is going to retrieve information from this PDF file, and whatever answers we are going to generate will be based on this input only, right? That is what the RAG is, right? So it's not going to give answers from its own vast knowledge. It is just going to use that understanding of language, but it is going to answer from your own knowledge base, and which in our case for our Q&A app would be these PDF files that we'll upload. Okay, and you can again put this in public so that people can use your app and they'll understand, okay, this person has built this, so he or she understands, how a RAG system works. Okay, that is it from PPT's perspective. Okay, now let's go directly to the building part. Okay, we are again going to build whatever is just needed and not beyond that basically. Okay, before starting, I'll just show you what is the end state that we want. Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so simple. You will have an uploader. You are going to upload your files from here. Uh, simple title, whatever you want to name your app. Then your interaction window where user can enter whatever questions or whatever discussion they want to have. And because in the backend we would have connected it with OpenAI, we are going to provide answers from there. Okay, that is the simple UI that we are going to build, and this will be used similarly in our RAG Q&A application. Okay, so now let's go directly to the VS Code. Okay, now let me know if my screen is visible to you.
Not yet. No, sir.
Okay,
Yeah, now we can see.
okay, great. All right, so this part is again common till since we are using it from the beginning, so I just kept it there. Okay, this is the only change that we are seeing. We are now going to use a library called Streamlit, and this is an alias that we have given to it, st. Okay, so import Streamlit as st, and this will give us every function that we need from Streamlit. Just 1 second, just 1 second, just 1 second. Hello, sorry for the interruption. Is my screen visible again?
Yes, yes. Yeah, it is visible.
Okay, so Streamlit, we are going to use this library again. Load .env, we are going to load our environment file. Okay, client OpenAI, this is just the client that we create for OpenAI, which is going to be used to call the OpenAI with their API call. Okay, second is going to be our page configuration. Okay, so know this, right? Every time when you are going to create something new in Streamlit, the first one or the first call it expects is the setting up of the page configuration. Okay, so if you start with something else, it will give error. Okay, so set page config is the first thing. So page title, my AI chat. Okay, again, it's on you. You want to name something else, you can. But if you remember the UI that we saw in the middle of it, we had the title. this is what is going to be printed there. And this page icon that we created, you want to check it, you can do this, right? Go and do Windows and the period, a full stop, right? So if you do Windows and full stop, you can choose whichever emoji you want to. So we just, because we are saying that it's an AI app, so we're just going to use a robot, but you can use any other as well. Okay. All right. So this, sorry, there's one mistake which I made. So this is going to look on your browser tab. Actually, for title, which we would see in the middle, it would be a separate thing. So we'll do it like this, right? st.title, and this one, whatever we build, is going to be look in the or show in the middle or print in the middle of the application as your title. Okay. So this would be whatever you see on your tabs, right? Browser tabs, this is what is going to come there. Okay. So this part is your configuration done. So now you have something on your tab, a browser tab, that explains what this application is about, a title. When you open your chat, it is going to show it. So if you want to check how it looks, we can do this. Okay. Now, but it won't run like that, right? Because if you want to run Streamlit, you need to start with streamlit.run. Okay, so Streamlit run and then your file. All right. So now if we run, it is going to open a browser window and you can see whatever we are building in the real time. Okay, I'll need to reshare maybe for that. Can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
So this is what we have just built. So this was the original app, right? This is the part that we have created. We have a title now, right? Which we can see, and on your tab, you can see my AI chat. All right. So these are two things which we have now. Okay, reshared. Let me know once it's visible again and I'll continue.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. All right. So next is the uploader section. We have to show how to upload the file. Okay. So uploaded file equals to st.sidebar. So this sidebar is the left part of your window, right? UI window. So now this uploaded file, because we are saying it saying that it should go in sidebar, the file uploader would be uh, showcased in the left side of your window. Okay. So this would create a file uploader which is predefined for it, for us. We don't have to explain a lot about it. The basic file uploader that it provides, it is going to give it to you, right? And then just some meaningful information to show on the label. Okay. And what kind of files are accepted. So we are saying that we will accept PDFs. Okay. Now, if the file is uploaded, okay, we don't need to do this. If a file is uploaded, okay, we should check what size it is, right? We should not build something that could accept anything, right? In general, the memory that could be stored, right, you'll have limitations to it. So I think a file of 1024 KB, or which is approximately 1 MB, should be more than enough for us to check for our use cases. Okay, so let's look at the if file size. Okay, file size in KB. Yeah, we have seen it. So we got 1024 is what we are checking for. Okay. Okay. So now if we see a success, all right. So now these docked success, right? And there are few more. If we use those, what it does is, it, you know, it already has predefined color schemes for every kind of output. So for success messages, it would use green, right? So they look a little better. You can also use sidebar dot write, right? It will also print out whatever you want, but then success gives it a green hue or green color so that it looks more meaningful. Okay. So sidebar dot success, what would be the success message? Uploaded, then your file name and the file size. So uploaded file ABC of 40 KB or whatever it is. Okay. If if there is an uploaded file, if there is no uploaded file, we'll ask for upload a PDF to get started. Okay. So this would be your uploader section. All right. Now, as we discussed, there are four things that we need to do. We have to initialize our session state, because as of now, whatever you'll put, right, that might not make sense to you. If the user does next action, everything in the past will be moved out. Hence, a session state is needed. Okay. So how we can keep that? If, all right. So what you're saying is if messages are not in session state, as we discussed in the PPT as well, right? If it is not there, then use this empty bucket. Okay. But what would happen with this is if there is, right? If message is there in the session state, then skip this line. So this will not go here. All right. So that is how the next discussion, the call is not empty. The previous information is not gone for us, for the user. Okay. Now next is display all previous messages. So if I want to display everything, right? How can I display it? So as we discussed, right, everything or every user action is going to re-trigger the complete script, right? So if I have to show everything again and again, I'll need to keep putting it in session state and then looping through it, right? Sorry. So that loop, what that loop is going to do is that loop goes through every messages that we'll have in session state and display it as a chat bubble. Okay. So for that we use chat message, st.chat message, user and assistant. So user is going to create a chat bubble with a person icon, and assistant is going to create a chat bubble with bot icon. Okay, when you type something in it. So we'll leave for message dot session state messages. Okay, and we don't need to do this now. This is going to give you st.chat message, and then you define your message role. It is going to create a bubble with the right icon. Now user or assistant, that we are going to choose. Okay, so chat message, and now st.markdown message content. So this is going to, as we use markdown in Python as well, right? Or in Jupyter notebook you would have used. So where you are going to show something as a text, markdown is used generally, right? So st.markdown message content, which is going to be the content of the message, it is going to show the message text inside that bubble, whatever bubble you are creating. Okay, so this is going to create this bubble, and this is going to put the message or show the message inside the text bubble, right? Whatever is the content. Okay, next session is so basically it is to create a function that is going to stream your response, but we are using a yield for the first time here. So I thought it's better if we explain what yield is, right? So if you remember, we created functions, right? So suppose this is your function. Remember, we create function like this. Yes or no,
Yes.
please? Right.
Yes.
So suppose I create a function called get all numbers. Okay. I'll say result. Okay. Then I keep appending one by one. Okay. So append 1, append 2, append 3, and then I return the result. Okay. So how is this function going to operate? All right. It is going to run the complete function. It is going to append all these 3 lines in your empty list, and then at the end you'll get the return. Okay. So what we can do is, just to see it, you can do list 1 equal to get all numbers. Okay, and print list 1. So okay, one more thing, right? So if you have your Streamlit running, okay, hence there is a connection with your browser which would be running. So if you want to close that connection, you do Control and C. The same thing that you do for your copying, do Control C. It is going to stop that connection. Okay, so now I'll use the same terminal for this result. Okay. Okay, as you can see, we got all 3 in one go. Yes. All right. Now yield is a generator function. Okay, this generator function that we are talking about, it does one thing at a time. Okay, generator function gives you items one at a time. Like you see, we go to an airport, right? You see a conveyor belt. You are seeing that one box is coming behind the other box, behind the other box. So everything is coming one by one, right? Each piece arrives when once that piece is ready, rather than you're getting everything at once, all right, like we are getting here in the return. So if you use the same logic here, how it would work is you see yield 1, yield 2, yield 3, all right. Then if you want to print it, right, tell me what is going to happen.
It will print one by one.
But if I just do print gen, it is not going to print you any number. If you want to see, it is going to give you generator object. Okay, so the value would be some like this 0 multiplied by 0, 0, 0. So this is its placeholder there, right? So if you want to print it, you can either do this print, sorry, next, and then your generator function, then next your generator function, next your generator function, or you can use a for loop. So this shows that it is going to print it one by one. If you just see the first one, let's see what it's going to print. If you can see, it has just printed one. Okay. Now, if I go the second time, what is the next value? It is going to print the next value, which is second. Now, if I go third, it is going to print the third value. So generator functions are used when you want one item at a time. Now, for our use case, where do you see this application or the application of this specific function?
Streaming,
Sorry, can you
like
repeat?
streaming, when streaming the response
Yeah,
from your news.
yes, absolutely correct. So when we are streaming, that's what we want. We want one word at a time, right? So we are going to use yield there. All right. So new function. Okay. Now, what we want to, what is it that we usually go for streaming that you create in for your RAG system? Is it chunks? The chunk of text,
Yeah,
right? So for chunk in stream, okay, content is going to be your the actual text, okay. Delta. Now dot I can just write content, okay. So delta dot content is going to give me that content itself, okay. So what we are doing is we are this function, basically the function that we are creating, it is going to take the streaming response from OpenAI and is going to yield, which is using a generator function, the text content one piece at a time. Okay. So for this, the if statement, why do we need it? Okay. We need a if statement to validate that when OpenAI stream sends many chunks, right? But not every chunk has text. Some chunks might be empty, like silence between sentences. So we only yield the chunks that actually have text content. So that is how you're going to build your streaming. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so when I say that if the content is not none, that means there is no empty value. There is some value basically. Okay, then what do? You yield content. So basically one by one, one piece by one piece at a time, give it to me. Okay, give it as a return value. All right, till here everything is clear.
yeah,
Okay, all right. Now lastly, we need to create our chat input plus AI response. Okay, so for that, what we have to do is, let's look at the prompt. So you'll get your prompt with dot chat input, right? So type a message, that would be a clear indication of what we need to do. Okay, so if prompt st dot session state, because we have to keep checking in our session state only. Every message is getting stored where? If you remember in the top, what did we do? We created an empty list in the first go, but from the second go itself, everything would be stored in a library with session state, right? That's what we created here, right? So if message is not in such sc.session state, you consider this empty library. But if it is in session state, you go for this for loop, where you go for message in such session state, and you're going to keep it as a content and look for the role. Okay. All right. So we are going to look in the session state. Session state dot messages dot append. Now role user content, whatever prompt you're giving. So our prompt would be coming from chat input. Chat input will be used by the end user, which is interacting with our UI. Okay. st.markdown prompt. Now with this, we are saying this part, right? Up to user. So this is displaying the user's message in a chat bubble. Okay. Next, what we have to do is we have to call OpenAI with streaming enabled or streaming equals true. Okay. Now we got the assistant part. Now we have to take the stream. Okay. So stream is going to be client dot create model. Let's take GPT or mini. Oh, sorry. Okay. So this is the model that we are choosing, comma. Next is messages. So this is the important part, where and how we are going to keep our messages. So messages equals, again, as we started with the basic initials in our first few sessions, you define your role. Okay. So your role is system content, your helpful assistant, keep answers short. Okay. If you remember, we did all this, right? The first part that we are doing is setting up the call for or LLM call with ChatGPT. This is what we always were doing, right? The only change would be in state messages. Okay. And then should we do such stream equals to true or not? By default, what is the value?
By default, it's false, so we should be giving true.
So we should always use stream equals to true, right? Once we do that, that means it knows that we have to get the answers one word at a time. Okay, using the assistance feature. All right. Now response. If you remember, we have to generate a response and put it somewhere. So this is what we are going to use. No, yeah, that also works. But I think the name we have already taken somewhere, but not, then that's okay. Okay. So instead of this, right, because we have to write our responses now, right? So that's why let's do this st.write. So what write does is write is going to, all right, and this, okay. Now this write, okay, so whatever stream that is going to come to us, okay, this write specifically is going to uh, take our response stream response generator and display, okay, and display how each yielded piece of text on screen as it is coming, as it is printing one by one. Okay, and with each run or each new call, everything in our script would be run from the beginning, but because we have used a for loop, so it will keep on printing. Okay, and with stream equals to true, it will come again and again as one text or one word at a time. Okay, slowly, so that we can actually see. Okay, lastly, if you see dot session state dot mess dot append role assistant and content equals to response, whatever response we receive from here. Okay, so this that we have created is the simple thing that is going to give the complete UI that we wanted. Okay, so let's now look back to the UI, what we have been able to build with this. Okay, I have to run it again. Wait, it would need to be run again. Okay, is my screen visible? No, right? So we are still seeing. Okay, because I've not. Okay, let me run it with the. Yes. Can you see we have the complete chatbot ready now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? If you upload something, let's say not from here. Okay. I must have kept some file. I need a PDF. So basically, if you upload a PDF here, it will just give you a message that, a PDF has been uploaded. But because we have not integrated a rec pipeline, so it is not going to read from that PDF or utilize it, right? Right now, what it would be doing is just, as we have defined things, because there is no connection behind other than with OpenAI, right? So it's not connected with any pipeline that we have built. So it's much easier than trying to learn HTML or CSS from the beginning and create something. All right.